Prime Minister.
Mr Chairman.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Chairman, when the Prime Minister was involved in the Banks inquiry, he said, when you talk to my Chief of Staff, you talk to me. And that's why, Mr Speaker, when Wayne Eagleson asked Parliamentary Services for the phone records, and we now know that it must have been him because David Henry didn't, we now have the voice of the Prime Minister demanding the records of a journalist. Mr Speaker, as members point out to me every now and again, I've been around this House for some time. Mr Speaker, I can remember the reasons for dividing up the old legislative department into the Parliamentary Service and Ministerial Services. And the reason for that was to take away from political control, from party political control, to take away from the Prime Minister the ability to access records and to put it in a place that is independent. Mr Speaker, this year that has been severely breached, and it appears to have been breached on at least between 3 and 6 occasions, or between 4 and 6 occasions. Mr Speaker, the fact that a Member of Parliament's access logs, the fact when they went in and out of the building, when they moved around the building, the fact that that was made available by Parliamentary Services to an outside body without a warrant is a disgrace. It is not the sort of thing that happens in any democracy, Mr Speaker. The fact that Parliamentary Service went further and supplied the access details of a journalist is even more disgraceful. Mr Speaker, it is fundamental to our democracy that journalists have the ability to move freely around these buildings and to talk to whomever they wish to. And the idea that as members of Parliament go to the press gallery, that is recorded and reported to the Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister is wrong, and journalists moving in and out of whichever doors of the building, going to and from outside appointments, is something which is also absolutely wrong. Mr Speaker, there's been a lot of discussion over the years about the relationship between the gallery and the Parliamentary Service, the officers, what's paid for, what's not, and Mr Speaker, there has always been an assumption that the phone records which go through Parliamentary Service, I understand in the end the extra bills are paid by the employers of the journalists, that those records are sacrosanct, that they would only be accessed in the... Oh, there he goes again. There he goes again. Your cousin. Mr Speaker, the assumption that we have, Mr Chairman, is that the phone records will only be accessed under warrant.
Order.
And what we have now, Mr Speaker, is the Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister, the person who appears to order the GCSB to spy on people, now using the Parliamentary Service to get information which would only be obtainable under warrant and approved by the Attorney-General. And what we have here, sir, is an appalling state of affairs where journalists and members of Parliament are not allowed to have discussions with each other, with their own groups. I mean, where does it finish? If Peter Dunn, Mr Chairman, wants to have a discussion with another Member of Parliament, is that Member of Parliament's records going to be made available to the Prime Minister's office as well? Yes, says two members opposite. I think it's approved of both by the backbencher whose name I've forgotten from King Country and Russell Norman. That is what happens in this Parliament, Mr Speaker, and that is totally unacceptable. Mr Speaker, Mr Chairman, I think the Speaker has done the right thing Obviously, this is not the right vote to discuss the fact that the Speaker has referred the matter to the Privileges Committee, but there are a lot of questions which he should answer now.
The Privileges Committee will deal with
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
I call the Honourable
Right Honourable
David Carter.